All right, Farmers Corner. Today is the 16th of March. 16th of March. This is video number 1. So today I want to have a conversation on the modern day farmer. Somebody actually called me and asked me about this topic and told me, Mitchell, what do you think the modern day farmer, what are the skills that should he or she, the modern day farmer, have? Remember, farming is not a gender role. It was in the past, but today it's not a gender role. Any gender can do it, whether male or female, everyone can get involved into it. So they asked me what are the skills. And I said, the first one I would say, be tech savvy. What I mean about be tech savvy, you need to understand the modern day technology. As you know, you look at this. This is a everyday cell phone. This is a Samsung S8. It's a modern day cell phone. But this technology that can be used for me as a farmer to help me improve my farming. What do I mean? Right. When I'm using my cell phone on the farm, I've used my cell phone on numbers of times where I've taken pictures or videos of cattle that I want to sell, cattle, goats, or sheep that I want to sell, and I post it on a social media network, maybe an agricultural group, and put it there and be like, guys, I have some cattle for sale. Sometimes this could also help me when I'm communicating with a vet. I could take a picture of one of my animals that are sick, and I could send the video or the picture to the vet, and he could look at it and be like, okay, Mitchell, I think your goat or sheep or cow has or your pig has limping disease, and this medication you need to do. And not just that, also when you are, for example, when you are sent by your dad to go buy a particular medication and he didn't really explain what type of medication it needs to be that you need to buy, you can take a picture of it and send it to me and be like, is this the medication you want me to buy? And he can respond to you and be like, yes and no. So it limits the chances of mistakes. When you're also experiencing certain problems on your farm, for example, you are plowing crops now, and a sort of a disease, a fungus or a mildew grows on your farm, you're able to take a picture of it and send it to the people who are responsible for plant life health, and they could advise you, or the consultants at various agricultural stores, whether it's Agri, Capagri, or Furmiester or Suavet, they could advise you and be like, okay, you need to use this and this and this pesticide to fight these pests away. So it's very good. It's also very good with helping me being able to access the internet and access information, such as if I want to get weather readings, such as rain patterns, chances of rain in this particular area I find myself, so which could give me the insight to say, you can plow, you cannot plow. I can use my cell phone again. With nowadays the cell phones being connected to the internet, I can go through my cell phone to the internet to get articles on planting certain seeds, whether I should plant maize early before the rains come, or should I plant them when the rains arrive. So this is what a cell phone could do. So you need to be tech savvy. Not just that, even with tractors. You know, there's new technology some people use where with their if you have drip irrigation machinery, there's software you can download that you can monitor your drip irrigation in your fields, how much water it's dripping, how much water it's releasing, is it releasing the right amount of water, is it releasing the water at the right time, is it not releasing too much water as to cause the plant sometimes to get overwatered and sometimes die, or releasing too much water that some of that water gets wasted. As you know, with farming, you know, every drop counts. Every drop of water is a big deal. Most people would lose their mind if they're wasting so much water. So you can do that. Another thing that being tech savvy can be, there's some technologies and some instruments you can buy that you can put in the field that monitor the amount of moisture in your soil that you can access through your cell phone, amount of moisture in your soil, the amount of water that your drip irrigation is releasing, the amount of water that penetrates, and amount of humidity and dew and what is this? Humidity and dew and how much heat your fields are getting, if your fields are getting enough sunlight. So there's all this technology that you can get that you can actually buy, connect, and link them to your phone that you can access them. Another thing, which is actually the modern day one, which comes with your tractors, your tractors. Tractors nowadays, if you do precision farming, there's something called precision farming. Precision farming means you do everything precise. So when you are plowing a field, and most of the time we know we are not on the farms. Most of the time we are sometimes in the city attending, some of us are weekend farmers, we're attending to work, or we live in the city with our children and wives, and the farm is 100 kilos away, and it's planting season, and you can't be there. Now with certain new softwares that you can buy for your tractors and also and then you link that software to the internet and to your cell phone, you are able to map, you're able to map the field. You're able to map on your cell phone how the tractor should plow on your farm, on the field, how the plowing pattern should be. Should it be triangular I mean, yeah, triangular, no, triangular. Should it be in a square? Should it be in a square form or should it be circular? So you're able to map all that, and then that will make sure that when your worker or your foreman gets into the tractor, starts the engine, starts plowing, that everything is done precise. He does not divert and plow in a very strange way, but everything is planted in the same pattern. The crops, the seeds are dropped and released at the same time. I mean, dropped and released at different times, and the spacing between the drop of seeds and the spacing of the plants is done differently. So that's one thing you can, that's why it's important to be tech savvy. Also, being tech savvy, sticking on being tech savvy, it is very important that you are tech savvy, because with tech savvy, when you come to livestock, it helps you connect with, you can get some equipment you can link up to your feeding kraals, like where your cattle are eating feeds. They are soft, I mean, there are apps that you can download nowadays that you can enter in data to say that my cattle daily eat probably 10 kilograms of BS mix, of cattle mix lick. And you enter all that software and it gives you the figures and numbers, and it does a calculation for you to tell you what is the daily weight of your cattle, how much grazing they eat, how much grass they're eating, and so forth. And if you're into start breeding, there's something called EBVs, which are estimated breeding values. You can also get the software for that, where you enter in the figures and daily, you do daily record keeping of your cattle. Like you weigh them, you weigh your bulls daily to see how much weight, or you weigh them every second week, and you enter that information, and it enters to a software where it keeps a well detailed record keeping of your animals. So when you sell it, you can actually give proper records of your animal. So another thing, still staying with tech savvy, nowadays with even our ear tags, you can just link to websites such as Nemlets for our cattle ear tags, where you can go do record keeping for your ear tags to make sure that the ear tags that reflect on your record on Nemlets reflect in your crawl. So it's very important. It's very important that you do that. This is why it's very important to be tech savvy, guys. Technology in this day and time is a must-have on the farm. You also need to be money savvy. What I mean about money savvy is, once when I spoke to a very senior farmer who has all his life just farmed, he has not done any other form of business, he just farmed. They told me, Mitchell, you need to have 4 saving accounts. In these 4 saving accounts, these are the saving accounts that will assist you. The first one is probably for you to buy livestock feed or to buy seeds and manure and whatnot. The second one is to buy medication for your livestock or medication for your plants if they're experiencing tough times. The third one is for your water infrastructure. If your drip irrigation system is not working, or your kettle or the windmill is not working, this is going to fix it. The fourth one is what you live on, is what you pay. It's what you pay your farm workers on, and it's what you pay your farm workers. It's what you pay your farm workers monthly, and it's what you live on. And also there, this one's also there to repair your car, but this one is your livelihood and your daily needs, and also your workers' daily needs. So you need to be very money savvy. You need to have a mindset of save money for a rainy day. I mean, if you get $100, you use $50, you save the other $50 for another, for a day you'd really need that $50, rather than blowing everything in one day. You also need to be very good at carrying out your own research. The modern day farmer, he or she needs to be able to carry out very good market research needs to carry out very good research first. Let's start off just carrying out research on a new type of plant life, new type of crop he wants to plant, or new type of breed of cattle, to know if this animal is going to be able to adapt, to perform, to do good things in this area, or it won't be able to do this, or whether these crops are going to be able to grow in this area. Are they suitable for this area? At what is the right time do I need to plant them? What is the right time do I need to plant them? Do I need to plant them early morning before the sun comes out? Do I need to plant them when the sun is out? Do I need to plant them when it starts raining, or do I plant them before it starts raining? And also carrying out research also of herbicides. When you are using herbicides in your fields to kill weeds, or you are using herbicides on your farm to kill bushes, thorn bushes, bush encroachment, you need also to be able to carry out research. When you buy this chemical, how do you use it? When do you use it? How is the right way to use it? So all these things, this is why it's very important for you to access the internet and get research and be able to carry out your research on something new. Don't just leave it to chance. It's very good to have good information on something. Always make sure you have enough information. Second thing, also, you need to carry out market research. I always tell people, if you are going to introduce dairy breed of cattle in your farming area, you want to go into dairy farming, you need to sit down and ask yourself, you need to carry out the market research to see if there's a market in your area, that if you introduce Frasers or Holstein cows, Frasers or Holstein or Jersey cattle to produce milk, or brown Swiss cattle, and you start producing your own brand of milk, are people going to buy it? Is there a demand for it? Is there a market for it? Is there a gap in the market that you can exploit and make money from it? So it's very important to carry out your own market research and have samples, so you can know whether it is worth your while or not worth your while. So you don't spend money unnecessarily and go broke. Very important. You need to be very cognizant of that. Another thing that the modern day farmer should have, that he or she should have, is also know better farming methods. And I mentioned your farming methods such as breeding and so forth. When you are planting your crops, maybe planting in a square method of planting, of plowing your crops might not work. Probably, particularly I've seen with people that plant in, let's say you're farming in a hilly area where there are hills. Rather than trying to plow upwards of the hill, which might cause damage and soil erosions and so forth, why don't you plow in a circular method around the hill, going up to the top of the hill? That could be better. That's a better farming method. Also, like I said, spacing of your crops, making sure that when the seeds are dropped, they are dropped at different spaces, dropped it at a good diameter away from each other, is to allow these crops to grow and not be able to compete for sunlight and water with each other, which would later on cause bad growth of your crops. Moving to livestock also, better farming methods with your livestock, which could help you, such as like better breeding methods. When is the right time to put the bull, put your ram, put your buck to your female animals? When is the right time to put him in? When is the right time to remove him? When is the right time to put him in for the second time, to make sure that all the cattle are pregnant, all the females are pregnant, whether it's cattle, sheep, goats, and chickens, they're all pregnant. When is the right time to remove them? So it's very good to have better farming methods, to improve, is to make sure that you get 100% strike rate, 100%, let me say 100% production rate, which is a better word, not strike rate, production rate. So that's one thing you want to do, better farming methods. So you need to, in other words, you need to get better farming methods. In other words, you need to modernize also. You need to change your farming methods. You need to improve how you handle your cattle, how you do your breeding programs. You need to have better methods. You need to change it from the olden days where you just leave put that bull in between the cattle. It will sort everything out. Sometimes it's not that way. You need to change it and do it better. Another thing you need to have, with technology, as I mentioned, you need to be able to access the technology and access the weather, which is very important. Weather patterns, whether you're doing cattle, whether you're doing livestock, whether you're doing horticulture, you need to keep an eye on your weather patterns and your rain patterns. Because just a change of rainfall could give you an insight to tell you, okay, Mitchell, sell some cattle, or plow, but don't plow probably 10 hectares. Don't plow the usual 50 hectares because the rain doesn't look promising this year. So just a drop in your rain could indicate a positive or a negative thing. Be your own vet. Not saying that you need to have a PhD or have to study veterinary. If you have basic veterinary skills, it's very good for you. The modern day farmer, he or she needs to have this. In terms of, you need to understand what medicine to inject, how to inject it, and when to inject it. I hope I'm making sense. What medicine to inject, how to inject it, when to inject it. It's very important. What medicine to inject, which type is it? If it's lumpy vax, if it's lumpy skin, what do I inject? If it's animal tuberculosis, what do I inject? If it's rabies, what do I inject? If it's black water and botulism, what do I inject and when do I inject it? You need to know when, what time, what season, what period of the seasons do I inject it, what period of the months do I inject it. You need to know how to inject it, where do I inject it, does it go through, is it intermuscular, is it under the skin, is it in the neck, is it in the shoulder, is it in the hind leg, how do I inject it, where are they injecting the sites on the animal, because you can't just inject the cow here. You need to know where to inject it. But also be your own vet in terms of, most of the time you see cattle get eye illnesses, like they start forming a white thing around their pupil. They start going blind in one eye. You need to know what medication to buy. That could be due to grass touching the eye of the cattle, or sometimes bacteria going into the eye and causing to get your eye infection, and it can go blind. So you need to understand the illnesses. You also need to understand the various illnesses. I went to one farmer, senior farmer. He has this big book on animal diseases, a big book. When his cow is sick, he would take out the book, start paging, read. What are the symptoms? Is it shivering? Is it what? Then he would read what are the different illnesses. So he would do that. It was quite refreshing when I saw it. It was quite fun and refreshing. So he always told me you need to be own vet. And also need to know when to carry out things like helping your cow when it's trying to give birth, if it's struggling, when the calf is stuck in the birth canal, how to get in there to remove the calf as to save. Because we should remember sometimes our farms are very spaced out from the closest town. So maybe the closest state vet you have is a guy who's sitting at the state vet office in town, and you're like 500 or 600 kilos away from him. It could take him a while to get to you. So you need to be able to start performing whatever procedures you have to perform. So it's very good. So if you're going to attend trainings on basic veterinary skills, it's very good for you to have this. It's a bonus for you. Another thing I would also want to point on, the modern day farmer needs to be environmental savvy. What I mean about environmental savvy is we try to limit the amount of damage or the amount of impact we have on a particular environment where we're farming, whether it's in the Zambezi, whether it's in the Kavango, whether it's in the northern communal areas, NCAs, or you are in this side of the veterinary corridors, which are the commercial farms and some of the communal area farms this side. It is very important that you try to have a very, very little impact on the environment as possible. What I mean by this, I have seen, particularly in my home region, the Zambezi region, I've seen people when they start preparing plow lands, they literally clear 50 to 60 hectares of forest, of rainforest. And these are big trees. They're cutting them down, they're clearing, they're slashing, they're burning them. And sometimes they're not using the wood for anything. They're just burning and slashing them as to prepare land to plow it. So I understand we need to plow and produce food, but sometimes we need to have a very small impact on the environment. If you're farming in an area where there are forests, you do not need to clear the entire forest as to create a field just to plow your maize or your mahangu. You just need a sufficient enough space. So let us try to limit the cutting down of various trees, because we should remember, if you are clearing huge acres of trees, this can also affect the rain patterns. So let's try to have a very minimum impact on the environment we are farming in. Whether you're also doing animal husbandry, you want to keep the impact on the environment as very small, as to make sure that this environment can remain productive for the next 10 to 50 to 60 years. You know how they say this. I know jackals and hyenas are a problem. They're problematic animals. I dislike hyenas. When I see them, I just want to shoot them. But sometimes one needs to remember that a hyena plays an important role in the environment. It plays an important role in cleaning the environment and eating the bones of dead animals to prevent disease outbreaks spreading amongst our livestock. So that's very important. I've seen when I was still farming in Witfleet, because people hunted out all the hyenas, the brown one, the spotted one, they killed all of them. So our cows would now go into the field and go pick up these bones of other cattle and start eating bones. It was problematic, because sometimes I would be spending hours running in between the cows, chasing one cow to try and get the bone out of its mouth. So it was problematic. So sometimes we need to try and keep a small impact. We shouldn't come in there and be like, there are elephants here. Me, I'm wiping out all the elephants. I know elephants are problematic. I know the elephants are problematic. They destroy, they create problems. They are problematic animals. They destroy fences, they destroy crops. But sometimes they play an important role. I know when I say this, people are going to get emotional in the comments and be like, Mitchell, but these goddamn elephants are doing more damage than any good. But we should remember they play an important role in our environment. So when we farm, we should remember, as much as we're farmers, we're also custodians of the environment we farm in. Let's try to keep our impact and our pollutions in this area very, very small margin, actually to a minimum. We do not want to get in there and cause massive destruction, as it will be detrimental to us. Because you should remember, the area you're farming in, may it be communal or commercial, still needs to be very productive for the next 5 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations, that your children, their children, their children's children, and their children's children are still able to farm in this area. So those are my 2 cents on what the modern day farmer, the skills the modern day farmer would need. The modern day farmer would need, and as I said, it's not gender rolled. It can be a man, it can be a woman. The skills we would need in this modern day. So those are my 2 cents, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I want to once again say a heartfelt thanks to the people that like, subscribe, comment, like, subscribe, comment, and share these videos. Because of you guys, I make these videos, and I'm always doing various research on various topics. And I appreciate getting the feedback where people are commenting or people are sending me messages via the social medias to tell me, okay, Mitchell, I think here and here improve, but you're onto something. Thank you very much, guys. You guys have yourself a good Tuesday.